Masters shirt on today.
I do.
Look at that.
Look at that. You got this for me?
I did.
Yeah, that story was so long and windy. I felt like I was there.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
I felt like I was.
Every single last inch of the Masters. I want to, you know why?
It was like hearing about someone's dream, to be honest, because a lot of people don't, for me, like I didn't even know what you were, I can't even fathom it. So it was literally like somebody telling me like, I had this crazy dream last night.
Totally. Which is why, so we got.
So I think a lot of people are like, I don't even know how.
Reason why I did. So when I posted a picture of me and my father, I got flooded with, that was one of the biggest posts I've ever had. And I get flooded with messages of, you're going to tell us what it's like on the show, right? Like, I got to know what it's like.
How can you really explain it? You were saying that, but like, how can you really transport? It's
you can't, but if you lay it out for people enough where you're like, all right, great, I want to go. Me personally, and this, again, maybe it was a long story, but for me personally, when people talk about things and they're excited about things, it makes me want to go in person and see them. Because right now, there's places that I'm not sure that I want to go still. And I've heard about it, like Australia was one of them. My mom had called and I was talking to her and she was like, I'd like to travel later on in life. And I was like, they've traveled a lot.
Right.
And I was like, where else do you want to go that you haven't been? Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to go to Australia. And I was like, well, the stories I've heard from Australia are mixed from people. Where it's super hot, a lot of bugs. You got to go the right time of year. The flight's 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And they were describing their entire trip to me. And I was like, a buddy had told me his Australian story, right? Mm-hmm. And afterwards, I was like, fuck. It was a long story, but I was do I really want to go to Australia? I don't. You can flip a coin for me on Australia. After hearing that story, he's back again now this week in Australia. And he's very mixed on it. He's like, his girlfriend is local there. She's from Australia, but they know all the local places and all that shit. The right time, the where to go and why. It's
not top of my list for sure.
Right, right. But it was before I heard this story. With the Masters story, my point to it was it should, like, if you're a sports fan or if this is your father is or brother or whatever it is, and you're thinking about maybe doing it, I hope that I gave you enough info to say, hey, definitely do it.
I even wanted to go.
To the Masters. Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
Because all those other things. Like, I would love to just walk through a gate and have it be like, oh.
Yeah.
And then have like a cheap sandwich and a cheap beer.
Yep.
And like walk around and I'm just, you know me, I'm just a sucker for any tradition or nostalgic. Like everyone there, it's like a nostalgic overload, right? Because you're just like, I remember seeing it on TV. My dad wants to go. Like it's all about
And
nostalgic land.
I got an unbelievably nice text message from my dad last night, late, like 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. And he was just like, I sincerely can't thank you enough for taking me. I like that place was a dream. I never thought that I would get to do something like that in my life, and it was amazing, and it really was. So to anybody out there who can figure out a way to go or trying or whatever, like it really was worth it after all these years of living there and not being able to go. So yeah, that's why. Super stoked.
I was like trying to give you shit, but it's actually like. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
It made me want to go. Way. I like to bust your balls, you know.
Yeah, either way.
But it did make me want to go.
But the same way with like the Bahamas and things like that, where it was just like Atlantis. You got to go to Atlantis. Everybody tells you got to go to Atlantis. If you go to the Bahamas, you got to go to Atlantis.
Was Atlantis everything you wanted it to be?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. There was some things that I wish we would have known going beforehand.
Right.
But like that fish fry place.
Fish fry place, yeah, so we could go earlier. And I would never say this, but it was the kind of place I wanted to bring my kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And party. There's
so many things for kids that I wish, there's just, like, again, there's things you don't know unless you spell it out. And
about like a couple's vacation. But in that sense, you look around and you're like, oh shit, like I feel bad. There's so many kids having a good time here.
Right. And you wouldn't think that from the outset of like, oh, hey, let's go party in the Bahamas and bring your children. Yeah, but you want to there. So like that, little things like that where it's like, all right, great.
Yeah.
If I can help the audience, figure out a fucking vacation or a trip or
Fuck